So one of the most common complaints I hear about push-ups is that it bothers the shoulder. And if the push-up's bothering your shoulder, there's a few different causes for that. So let's kind of talk about all the different causes. Let's talk about really good push-up mechanics, and then I'll give you a demonstration after the end. So the first thing to pay attention to is actually your thumb knuckle. At the bottom of the push-up, your thumb knuckle should be about even with nipple level. So the thumb should be about even with the nipples. When you're at the top of the push-up, when your arms are extended, the thumb knuckle should actually be even with the collarbone. So you're gonna go from this position into that position, right? So the thumb knuckle is gonna tell you if you're in the right position. The second key point here is to know about the angle of the elbow. Oftentimes people will do push-ups and they'll bring their elbows too high where they're up in a shelf, and you can see my shoulders elevated here. If I were to put my body weight on that elevated shoulder, it would just kind of rub incorrectly and cause some pain. So that's another really big common cause of shoulder pains in the push-ups. And then the third biggest common cause is that their hands are in the wrong place. So a lot of times people will go too narrow, and you can see to get my hands narrow here, I'm bunched up in the shoulder, which is not going to be nice to load up on. Another big common mistake is when people go too wide, right? That's going to end up putting a lot of weight through the front of the shoulder, which the shoulder can't support. What you want to do is you want to get the hands wide enough so that at the bottom, your forearms are perpendicular to the body. So you don't want the hands too wide where they're pointing into the body, and you don't want them so narrow that they're pointing out away from the body. Your hand should be wide enough that the forearm is perpendicular. Another really big common mistake that people do with push-ups is that they'll start with their shoulder instead of starting with the elbow. The push-up should begin at the elbow joint. When you're in an extended position, the first joint to move should be your elbow bending backwards. Oftentimes, people's first move will be with the shoulders dropping forward. They'll cave forward. And I'll show you what it looks like on the floor. So now that we know some of the big key form issues that come up with push-ups, let's see this in demonstration. Let's actually look at a push-up done correctly. Now that we've talked about some of the key form issues that come up with the push-ups, let's kind of look at this in action. Let's get a good demonstration of what the push-up should look like. So the first thing that I want to show is, again, the hand placement. So we talked about how the hands should not be too narrow so that the forearms point in. And we also don't want them so wide that the shoulders roll and cave forward. We want to try to keep the hands wide enough so that the forearms are pretty perpendicular at the bottom. And then again, the thumb placement, the thumb knuckle, should be even with nipple level when you're at the bottom. And then when you're at the top, should be even with the collarbone. Just like that. And then remember, the first joint to move on the push-up should be your elbows. So done correctly, you should be moving the elbow first. That elbow bends to lower the body and then come back up. The biggest issue that people cause pain is that they'll think about going straight down and they'll bend at the shoulders before the elbows move. And that bunches things up. Again, you can see it just kind of gets bunched up near the neck and can bother the shoulders. And then another key point here, if you're bending the elbows first, you'll notice that the body actually does a little bit of a diagonal motion rather than straight up and down. So as I go down, my chest is actually going to go forward a couple inches and then come backwards a couple inches as I go up. It's a little bit of a diagonal forward motion rather than going straight up and down where we get bunched into the neck. So you're actually going to go forward as you go down and then push back and away. With those tips, push-ups should no longer give you any issues in the shoulder. Should be a nice, safe exercise to do. Hey, Steve Hicks here. Real quick, just want to say thanks for watching this video. If it was helpful for you, can you do me a favor? Can you give me a like down below and share a comment? What did you think? What was a highlight from this video? What did you learn? Let me know so that we can engage and make some better information down the road for you and help you live a healthier, happier life.